But also one of the families that I used to teach, they live in Texas, and she was talking about, because one of their kids has like a very extreme food allergy issue or whatever ever since he was born. Like he would just break out in rashes. So he's on a very strict, limited things that he can eat. He can eat meat, he can eat sweet, like whole foods, how we probably should be eating. That's what his body's like, absolutely nothing processed. He'll freak out. So then they just changed their whole family's diet to that. And she was saying, like, yeah, people always say, well, how do you afford that to be able to eat that way? She's like, we went through our budget, and she's like, we realized majority of our grocery bill was snacks.
Yeah.
She's like, it was healthy stuff, but it was just like, why are we consuming all of this fluff? She's like, so we just cut out the snacks. And she's like, it was an adjustment for the kids and all of us to not eat periodically throughout the day. But she's like, we just cut out snacks. And she's like, our grocery bill has gone down significantly, and the kids actually eat the food. So food is not being wasted. So we feel fine buying better quality stuff because we know it will be eaten when it's supposed to be eaten. We're not throwing things away, and the kids are hungry when it's mealtime. They will eat the good sources of food, and then they're not just snacking all day. And she said if they do get hungry, like they'll have an apple or a banana or whatever, but most of the time they don't want to stop to eat. She's like, we treat it like a restaurant. Like our kitchen's closed. Like if it's not breakfast, lunch, or dinner, kitchen's closed. We're not in there. We're not, like, if we're hanging out or whatever, but they know like nothing will be cooked during this time. So I think even price wise, I wonder how much we overeat and spend money on fluff stuff. That's like, well, if you just cut that out and just replaced it with your meal, could you eat more protein, or could you eat more quality meat? Or because it's better quality and it's not just portion size, would you get full?
Well, I think especially with kids, but obviously adults struggle with this too. There's a schedule that's happening in their family. So now the kids know when they're eating. So they aren't probably asking for snacks and to eat and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's the thing we talk about. Like, kids want routine, and I think just people in general do, but kids really exemplify that. They want structure, schedule, routine, that they've just created that with their food and their meals now, that the kids probably follow in line with that pretty easily. They're not asking for snacks all the time or additional stuff or extra stuff. That now you just kind of kill two birds with one stone. Like, your kids aren't bugging you to eat every 20 minutes, and they're eating quality foods, grocery bills going down because you're getting rid of the fluff stuff. Like, I think that's something that people do a lot of the time too, they're just taking their usual diet and budget, and they're just comparing, like, well, I usually get this ground beef, but now if I'm going to go to the meat market that's local, their ground beef is this much more expensive. So, well, I don't want to pay more for it, to where you're not looking at the rest of your diet seeing like, well, I don't really need the chips and the this and the that, like all the junk bullshit that's in it. If you were to eliminate all of that stuff that you absolutely do not need, now all of a sudden there's room in your budget to get more expensive stuff and better stuff. There's just it's kind of the idea of analyzing each thing that you're eating and going like, what is this doing for me? And if you don't really have a good answer for it, it's like, why is it even there? Is it literally just to satiate you? Like, that's not a good reason. You should be eating stuff that is giving you nutrients and fueling you. That's where I go back and forth with oatmeal a lot of the time, or just like that sort of thing. Because I'm like, I just don't really feel like this does much for me. And is this literally just for me to feel a little bit more full? Well, I could replace this with something a lot better than just getting full. Like, if I need some sort of food for this, or like I need something for the calories, let me replace it with something that's more nutritious and going to benefit me more. I don't think people do that either, of what is this food doing for me? And you don't have a good answer. Like, it should just be gone. Should be analyzing every single thing like that.
Well, and that's the same thing with the Texas families. They take out the snacks. She said, like, it took them like a week to adjust. And it was more,
Yeah.
they said they were hungry probably because it's the thing to do.
Right.
Like,
That's their
again,
routine
like,
at the
their
time.
routine is snacks. So she's like, they will actually fully eat their meal and most of the time ask for more of that meal. It's like, how many kids? And she's like, and we eat a meat source, a vegetable, and a fruit every meal. And that's what they will eat. And every single meal, they're not like, well, but I want this or I don't like this. Like, they will eat it and like it. But she said the energy levels in between the meals was dramatically different. And it's like, well, for someone that maybe doesn't know a lot about digestive, like the health of how your body works, like, well, yeah, but you're putting your body through work every time you eat.
Every time you eat, your blood sugar rises.
So it's
Every
like,
single time.
You're allowing yourself a break. You're allowing your digestive system a break. Towards like, if you're constantly snacking, you're using your energy just to freaking digest the food.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't know as a society, we don't know this stuff.
And I would say even the price of that, I think we see it with grandparents and older people. It's like your health starts to really charge you as you get older. Or maybe not even as you get older. Think of how many people our age or a little bit older can't have kids.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
now you're spending $20,000+ because your body is failing you. It's like, that's a health thing. That's not something's different now.
But nobody's
Our females are different now. Granted, we're maybe having kids later, but still.
And
like,
nobody wants to look at food for that.
Like, that's more expensive.
Well, yeah.
You having to go to doctor visit after doctor visit, or something's happening with your health, or you're noticing like your things that should be working properly are not. That's way more expensive than your grocery bill.
Yeah. It bothers me so much that we don't want to connect those dots of all of the literally health stuff that we have in our society, in our country, and nobody wants to connect it to what we're eating ever. It's never that. It's always something else. Well, it's plastic and it's this and that. Sure, there's definitely that happening, but you're also eating crap all the time. It's just, I don't know.
Well, and I think
it bothers me so much.
The price too. It's not even just serious things, but it's day-to-day stuff. How many people or how many females spend so much money on skincare and better quality makeup because then it covers how shitty their skin is? Like, when I was eating, this podcast, I'm just like, I gotta go carnivore.
Yeah.
It sounded like my life was awesome then.
Yeah.
But when we were doing that, and it was the first time where I really just prioritized protein. That's really what it was. But I cut out all of the other stuff. And I think for my having gut issues, it was probably the first time in a long time where my gut was actually working better. But like, my skin looked great. I'm not going to put money towards day to day of just looking good. My body is working properly, so I'm starting to look better. It's like little things like that. And okay, now my body looks better, so I don't have to prioritize, or I'm not as concerned about how I look, what am I wearing, or if I got overweight, maybe needing to buy workout programs or pay for personal training, or like all of your regular day-to-day stuff becomes better and better quality and easier, that you don't have to spend money to cover up how unhealthy you are. Most of us are just covering up and paying for how unhealthy we are.
Yeah, well, it's the, I don't know, like I guess it's just the lack of awareness of it. Well, I don't want to spend another $1 or $2 per pound for ground beef to get the healthier version, but I'm going to spend $200 a month on skincare stuff. or I'm going to go to Starbucks every day and get my $6, latte or whatever. So it's like, you're kind of caring, but at the same time, you're kind of not, because you're the other shit you're buying is a part of your budget or whatever that you clearly don't need. You most certainly don't need. So you're kind of going like, well, I can't afford this because it's more expensive, but you can go buy all this other crap that's not doing anything for you. Like, there's a little bit of awareness that needs to happen there too. Of
that to me feels like wasting money.
Yeah, you're just not prioritizing at that point. You're not prioritizing health. You're prioritizing aesthetic with the skincare stuff and all that crap. You want to talk about a whole other industry that's full of shit. It's the skincare and all that shit.
A lot of beauty stuff.
All the beauty stuff is just completely full of shit. I hate those people. It's them and the food industry. Everybody's just full of shit.
Well, that's where I go, I'll control what I spend now so that I'm not forced to pay something I don't want to. It's like, you think the food industry is overcharging us for healthy stuff? Go to a doctor's appointment.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to charge you even worse.
And
that's when you kind of are in like, I have no choice.
And they're not going to help you at all. They're going to just prescribe you a pill that doesn't work and doesn't do anything, doesn't solve any of your problems. And then cut to 4 years later, you now have a different health problem, or you have the same persisting one and it's not doing it. Well, it actually, some pills don't work with some people, so here's a different style of it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Birth control is such a good example of that. It's like, oh, this one you gained weight. Oh, this one it didn't clear your acne. Let's try the 7 other ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're on 3 different pills what kind of fucking concoction is happening in your digestive system ingesting all these pills? Yeah. There's part of me that I'm like, as the person, you need to have some accountability.
Yeah.
Because like, it's not common sense, but it's like, think a little bit further than the initial thing. But then there's a larger part of me that's like, everybody's trying to trick you all the time. They're just trying to get you to purchase their thing. That's all they're trying to do 24/7. Everything's a multi-level marketing scheme all the time. All they're trying to do is get you to buy their shit. That's it. So how do you completely avoid all of that? Well, whole natural foods are not being marketed to you. Ever.
Yeah. Do you see a commercial about apples?
Yeah, exactly.
Or sweet potatoes?
That's never happening. And if it is, it's sweet potato chips. Oh, yeah. All natural sweet potato chips. Like all natural apple gel in a tube Pouches. For kids. Like, that's not food. I'm so sick of these food industry people.
That is a good theme of that. Of your health, your viewpoint should be, what am I looking for, or what am I helping myself now, and what am I helping myself for in the future? I think accountability is hard for people, but we also we're not setting ourselves up for success later down the line. Again, why I say like, okay, yeah, we know these big milestones that happen in our health, but we don't realize how early they happen or how early they start. That it's like, okay, you take birth control. At 21, 22, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to have a kid now, but I will. So how can I make that time of my life easier, less stressful? I'm literally telling my body, don't function in the way that you're supposed to until I want you to, and then I want you to do it perfectly and immediately and with the full health. My body's going to go, oh yeah? Well, you've been telling us for how many years to don't function properly. We don't want you to happen. We don't want this to happen until you're ready for it, I guess. It's like, how many other things, that's just an obvious example, but how many other things are we going, yeah, I'm going to treat you like shit, but as soon as you start to break down, it's like buying a crappy car and then you're getting pissed at it when it starts to break down. Like, well, you've been treating it like shit. You haven't been getting oil changes, you haven't been getting gas on time, you haven't been like changing out the fluids or filling up on the fluids, and now you're getting pissed when it's run down. That's what we're doing to our bodies.